Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe. Game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the German Diplomatic Disaster series. We are getting ready to go into November of 1943. Our last session got cut short because the server went down. So we don't even know what the weather is going to be until we start up here. So I'm going to bring those things up because I think that's the first thing that we do. I did try something a little different. If you'll notice up here, you'll see movement points here, defender, dry roll, Meyer attack, and the turn phase. I have everything docked. I wanted to try and see how that would look on things. So let me know if you like the way this is set up rather than the boxes sitting out above the map or whatever. And away we'll go. So the cold 4, mild 4, warm is 6. So we go over to the December, February and look at all that. It's severe, poor, and severe. So you'll see the things move. And why didn't we move that to severe? Well, that was a mistake. Should have been severe in the warm zone. Oh well. So we're zipping right along here. We go through the declarations of war phase. We go over to the national tracks for the economy phases. Germany is very low. Oh, in the declarations of war phase, he did declare war on Hungary. So Hungarians will be... Or no, he thought about it, and then he decided no, he didn't want to, not this turn. And so we went on. Russians are at 54, British are at 34, and the Germans are at 18 for this turn. So we're doing strategic warfare here. The Russians are at 4 because they have airplane in Königsberg, which is on Sea Zone 13. And I don't even remember if we have anything to play. He did not. I had submarines. So I rolled a 2. And then I went up to... So that didn't affect anything because I can't lose anymore. I'm already at 9. So then we went over to the west where they're at +6 because they have 4 bomb demarkers. And then we had to go to combat commitment here. It was like a no-brainer. He didn't have any... He did have an ultra. He had a couple ultras and a partisan, but he didn't play any of them. I did play my subs. So I got a 6, 4 + 2. And he got a 6, rolled a 6, got a +6, which is a 12, but it's halved down to 6. And 6 to 6 means the Germans got a factory back. So I'm down to 8 lost factories now. And then my subs come back in 5 turns, of course. Oh, and he had put his partisans in the wrong place, so we made sure we put them back into April of 44. And now, I'm trying to remember what I did here. Oh, I moved the first garrison down to Turin to back up the Yugoslavs. Don't think the West had one. And then the Soviets, I can't remember if he did one. I think he moved, he thought about moving this, and I said, you realize you can't replace that? He said, well, then I don't want to do that one. And he took the guy that's up here in Brest and brought him down to that rail sign. Getting ready to go into Hungary next turn. Second Panzer. So this is me, since it's poor weather and he can force retreats. Didn't want to give him 2 attacks, so moved the Panzer. Tried to figure out where to put him there. Moved the infantry back. Not sure what else I did. Oh. Put the Yugoslav there. And then I was done. I said that's enough for one turn. So we went over into the Western Operations phase. We took the markers off. He came into there, and I went ahead and tried after him. He was -3, I was -2. I didn't roll high enough, so bomb marker got through. And he went into Berlin, and I tried again. Did not roll I rolled a 6, so I stopped him. Gave him 2 sorties. And then he brought went into Aachen and Dusseldorf and Bremen. And he was done with his bombing. Now he was talking about how to try and do an invasion here. And then he decided to not do that first. He went ahead and saw what he could do in Italy first. So, attacker. This is where we made a huge mistake here, because this should actually be severe based on the weather die rolls. And he was operating in poor, so he got a break here. I'm at 3. And then before he resolved that, he put a partisans on Le Havre. And I'm not sure what he's doing here. Well, he brought the convoy, I think it was out of Gibraltar, up to Plymouth. And brought the guy in from Plymouth, and I said, you got to put a surprise attack marker out first before you can do invasions. And so he landed the 10th there. Went to combat commitment, and he threw in an airplane. I did not throw anything in. So he started off at -1 because he's British, -1 for the city, -1 for the weather, and -1 for attacking a unit. In poor weather. It should have been -3, 4. Didn't do the die roll modifiers right. These tanks. So that was actually wrong. We did the addition wrong, because he got -1, -2, -3, -4, +1 is -3, +1 is -2, +1 is -1. So he's right. -1 to -4, you got a 3. Of course, I couldn't roll with dually squat, so I was retreated. And he chose not to take the hex and went back to Plymouth. Then he plays another surprise attack marker, brings the first armored over, and lands, excuse me, in just north of Calais, because now he's got me isolated. So he has one for American, one for armor, two for isolation, and another one for the fleet. And then he came down three because he's attacking 4 weather, city, and a unit in invasion. So right now he's +2 to my 0. And I think we're in combat commitment here. And I decided to go ahead and throw my tanks on this one. So I threw tanks and he threw in an airplane. I don't know which one. One up here in the north? Yeah, the one in Hull. So he went up to +3 and I went up to +1. And then he threw an ultra to make him an extra +1. So now he's up to +4 to my +1. I should be a +1, not a +2. There we are. So he rolled a 4 + 5, so he got a 9. I rolled a 3, so I was eliminated. And he took the hex. And then he put his fleets in there for supply. His stuff comes back in 1 turn and 2 turns, so he gets them right back. Then he invades with the 5th. I said, no you don't, you gotta put up last surprise attack marker. And just invaded the hex, and then I think he attacked across the river. So this is us setting the die roll modifiers. So he was 1 for American, 1 for armor, and 1 for the fleet, so that's 3. And then -1 for the river, 1 for the guy, 1 for the weather, so he was at 0, and then he added an airplane, which made him at +1. So +1 to 0, and he should have been +1, not a 0. Should be a 2, there we go. And then I rolled a 4, so I held my ground. So he invaded in November in poor weather and did very well. Now we're doing the down here, and this should have been severe. It should not have been poor. He's going to get away with 1 here because I didn't pay attention. So he's basically +2 for this armored unit, +2 for that one, so that's 4. And an airplane is 5. And then and this is us taking off for the weather and the river and the unit. Or weather and the... It should have been a +3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we didn't do it right. 5, -1 for the river, -1 for the weather. He should have been at +3. Oh no, he played another ultra there. That's what he did. I don't know where the ultra marker is. It should be out here. $34.23. Oh, there it is. That's how he got himself back up to +4. 3 + 4 was a 7, and I managed to roll 5, so the armored held. And I'm not sure that he... Nope, he just put the surprise attack markers off. Now he does his supply. Rolled for his partisans, comes back in 2 turns. And then he does his supply. He puts his garrison unit in Italy in low supply, and then takes 5 sorties on various fleets. And up here, he didn't have to do any escorts because I didn't have my my unit, so he just runs up a couple of the convoys to supply himself. And then we went over to the Soviets. So now we're over to the Soviets for November. I think he starts maybe in the south. He was going to try to fly up and attack my 4th Luft, but it's like that's not going to work because Hungary's neutral. So and he goes after the moves down to try and take the Yugoslavian garrison. Thought about it, said, nah, I'm just going to attack Belgrade. We went to combat commitment. I threw a ground support. He threw in his airplane. So he's 1, 2 for the armor, 3, 4 for buddies, 5, minus 1, 2, 3. So he should be +2. He throws in some tanks to get himself up to like +4. And then he threw in his heavy artillery to be +6 to like +1. Rolled a 4 + 6 is a 10. I rolled a 4 + 1 is a 5, so I was retreated. Took Belgrade. I got my ground support right back. He got his heavy artillery in 2 turns. Tanks. And then he goes up here to the north. Gonna do some attacks up here against the Germans. So it's the guards is the primary, so he should be at +5 -1, so a net of +4 to by +2. And since we're at assaults, he went ahead and did in my airplane. With his airplane back in Kaunas. Oh. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because he throws in an airplane, and then -1 for the weather. And I am at +2. He rolls an 11. I at least rolled something that didn't get me foot, so I'm retreated. He takes the hex. And he does his 3 hex attack on Warsaw. Throws in a tank, so he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an airplane, I believe. I don't know which airplane he threw in. Oh, the one in the back. So he rolled a 1 + 5, which is a 6. I rolled a 3, so I was retreated. So he took Warsaw. Moved this armored up. Oops. Dang it. And the shock army up to attack the 18th. So now I think he's I think he nets out at +2. How do you get up to +4? 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, so he's +4 to my +2. He rolls a 2 + 4 is a 6. I rolled a 4 + 2 is a 6, so I held. And he goes after the Nor. Again, throwing in airplanes so that he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, so he's +1, 2, 3, 4, -1 is +3 to +2. He rolled a 5 + 3 is a 8. And I managed to roll just barely high enough with a 4 + 2 is a 6 to hold the ground. And then he attacked against the 9th, where he was only +1. He rolled 5 + 1 is a 6. Should be a 7. I rolled a 3 + 2 is a 5, which is enough even at a 7 to hold. He moved the infantry into Königsberg. I think this is him moving this armored unit up for the future. And moved that infantry there, and this infantry to there. And he was done. So nothing happens in the no supply phase. We go to replacements for the Axis. We went back to the no supply phase because he wanted to take that convoy off. He wants to put it up in the North Sea. So now we're in the Axis supply phase, or replacements phase. So I flip over that infantry unit. Okay, take some airplanes down. And I think we're done. Yeah, now we're in the West, and they just, it's not like they took very few sorties off. The Americans took all their sorties off, but the British didn't spend a lot because they wanted to be able to rebuild their surprise attack marker right away, which they will do here in just a moment. Now we're doing the Russians, which they have more than enough points to bring all their stuff back down. Nobody had upgrades. I had 2 production points left, so I went ahead and built a couple of garrisons, a garrison and infantry over in the west, because heck, there's Americans now on the continent. And then we went into. Okay, he had a. There was a. He did have a British unit. Built his stuff. Diplomacy phase. End of turn phase. I got another factory from my economic reforms here. And then he had 1 variable entry unit that's his upgrade unit. And he rolled a... What? So it will come in, he will get his upgrade in January. So the BEF will become a real armored unit in January. And then we rolled the weather. And 2, 1, and 1 means we go poor, and fair. And like I said, I screwed up in the warm zone. The last turn it should have actually been severe, so nothing really happened down there, but I don't think he would have even spent the points to do the attacks to begin with. Probably would have saved those 4 points to do, flip another unit, get some sorties off somewhere, something like that. So we go into declarations of war phase. And then this is where he goes into attacking. He goes after the Hungarians, I think. Yes, and so I'm setting up the Hungarian army here. And now we're doing production, I believe. So he gave me another ally. He declared war on the Hungarians. And now you'll see that I'm up to 22 because I have 14 minus 8 is 6, plus 5 is 11. So I'm actually up to 22 from 18 last time. So that was a little bonus. The Russians went ahead and 0 to 4, they played their partisans. Minimum they can get is 5. Best I can get is a 6, so I lose the factory. We don't even roll the dice. And then he just rolls to see when his partisans come in, 3 turns. And then we go over to the west. I mean, I rolled a 6 plus 2 is an 8. It's best I can get. He didn't have anything to play. He didn't play anything for. Didn't have anything on the. He had one ultra and he wanted to save that for use in combat. So he went ahead with his plus 6. I rolled a 6 plus 2 is an 8. He rolled a 2 plus 6 is an 8. So I actually got back my factory that I lost to the Russians. So I'm going to be at the same point I am now next turn. And we're into strategic movement. What did I do here? I don't remember. I did something to save a production point, I thought. Ah, yes, I took the, there's a Hungarian ground unit that was in Italy here. He went out and all the way through France, around into Germany, down through, Germany into Hungary, or into Yugoslavia to garrison his city. I'm down to 1 will point with them, so I figured I might as well go put him someplace useful. And then I think I spent the 1 Hungarian movement production point to move the garrison there. Just thought about it and I couldn't go there, so I went there, I think. Or did I not do anything? I decided I couldn't do anything. I was going to move into Yugoslavia, but Yugoslavia's not conquered yet, so I can't go there. So, mistake on my part. And then the first army moves around sort of in a little boom boom to try and keep him from being able to get to Split easily. And we're just trying to delay the demise of Yugoslavia as long as possible. Now, I'm not sure where I'm going next. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this German infantry went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, and again 6, 7, 8. And that's the primary, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 minus 1 for the weather. He starts off at -1. And did we go to combat commitment? I think we did. Yes, we did. He committed, I committed. So I threw my heavy artillery at this point. So that put me up to +5. And then he threw. That was he was not seeing things come through. Once I rolled the dice, then his tank came out. His tank's there. Which put him up to 0, and then I think he threw an airplane as well. Yeah. Yeah, fighter command. And an ultra. So he went whole hog trying to defend himself there. +5 to +2. I rolled a 1. +5 is a 6. So all that stuff I spent, and looks like I'm not going to get anywhere. He rolled a 3 +2 is a 5. So I didn't make him move. So there he sits. Then I move the infantry unit. Garrison unit up. This infantry unit moved out of Brest back because he can't invade anymore, so I'm just trying to get myself into a defensive position. And I put that garrison in the thing, into Cherbourg. And what else did I do? Oh, and then I moved from Vienna into Budapest. So I'm back over here now in the east. And I think I just straightened out my line. He moves back 1. He moved to there. And then I just backed up the German infantry to be sort of in a semi-straight line. And I think I'm done at this point. Oh, I had my airplane. What was I doing? Oh, I think I had my airplane attack his... Yeah. We just, when it added here, I was trying to get a lucky die roll split. Because if I roll really high, I would get 2 sorties on him. I only got 1. I tried it again, I believe. And still, I got my 6 minus 3 as a 3, but he rolled a 6 minus 4 as a 2, so he... Oh, he should have been minus 5. We screwed up. He should have been minus 5. Well, whatever. Oh no, he was at 2. Yeah, that's right. He was at minus 2, and then that just did that. And then I said, well, we'll have this. This guy was going to go down anyway in Danzig, and same thing with the guy in Vienna, I think. No, I made him have to try and think of flying airplanes up to take out the guy in Vienna. That's what I did. And then this guy went after the British to see if he could get a lucky split, and he couldn't. So I just ran him up to just ring up a few more sorties on the British. And I think that was just about it for me. Yep, I think I was done. So now we're in the Western Allies, and he's doing an assault on the garrison unit here to try and push me back. And calls for a garrison, an assault that way too. Okay, so we did this one. He was +1 for the American, +1 for armor, +1 for a buddy, so he was +3 minus 2. So he started off at +1, and then I started off at 0. And combat commitment, I went ahead and threw my tanks, so I gave him an extra +1. And he threw his tanks and his airplane, so he went up to +3. Rolled a 5, +3 is an 8. At least I rolled a 5, so I wasn't eliminated. I had to retreat. I had to think about where to go. I ended up going there. And then he did this attack. He's at +1 to +2 to start with, and he throws in an airplane to make it +2 to +2. He rolls a 5, +2 is a 7. And of course I roll a 3, so I have to retreat, so I get out of the way. And then he moves the first army in there. And now, if I remember right, yeah, I did have my surface action, so he had to be careful how he moved his fleets. He went ahead and sent that convoy unescorted away, and sent the fleet with it, and then brought Home Guard in with the American fleet and convoy out of Hull, I believe it was. And what else did he do? Oh, he's doing bombed. And I got lucky on this one. My 5 minus 2 was a 3, and he's like at -5, so I stopped. Is it Bomber Command? I can't remember if it was Bomber Command or American. It was the American out of Southampton, I guess. And then he flew around to Berlin. I tried my shot there and missed. So I got into Berlin. And landed 5 bombs this time around. So, and down here he went after Milan. So he's got Armored unit, if I remember right, it's fair weather here. Yeah, it's fair weather, so he's like 1, 2, 3, plus an airplane is 4, 5, minus 2, so he's plus 3 to my plus 2. He rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8. I rolled a 4 plus 2 is a 6, so I held for 1 turn. And so now it costs him 4 more movement points to go do it again. He rolled a 1 plus 3 is a 4. I rolled a 6 plus 2 is an 8, so I held. Then he went after the German armored unit. And then he's 3, 4, 5, minus 1. So he's plus 4 to plus 4. And he rolled a 2 plus 4 is a 6. I rolled a 1 plus 4 is a 5. So it goes again. Excuse me. I rolled a 2 plus 4 to my 2 plus 4. So we held. And I don't even know if he did anything with the BF. I think he just said he was done. Yeah. He's just done, and now he's doing supply. So he went with a supply on one of these guys without escort. And so I went after him. Oh, I think this is one that we ended up taking back because I thought he had started out with 3 sorties or something. And he didn't. He started out with 2. And I said, well, if he only started out with 2, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to get him, up to where he wouldn't be able to supply everybody. And so we just undid that. So now we're doing Soviets. He flies his airplane up to get rid of mine and goes after the Yugoslav. Ground support, he throws tanks and a heavy artillery. He really wants that hex. Rolls an 11 to my 6, so I'm retreated. And then he takes this guard's unit. I don't know why he went that way. 2, 3, 4. Well, that's why he did it. And then he took this guy 1, 2, 3, and attacked that way. He's coming across the ridge or the river, so he's minus 2 plus another minus 1 for the weather, so he's minus 3. It starts off, I think, at minus 1. Throws in a sortie. Let's see, he was 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3, minus 1, 2, 3. Should have been at 0. Yeah, minus 1. I'm confused. So I should be at... Okay, there it is. I was going to say, I know he threw a bunch of stuff in here. So he ends up at a net plus 2 to my minus 1. He rolled an 8, which guarantees that I'm going to be retreated. So he takes the hex. And all the Yugoslavs go away. And then he moves up here to go after the Hungarians. He's isolated, so he's like plus 2, minus 1 for the river. So, or plus 2, minus 1 for the river, and minus 1 for the weather. So it was plus 0 to minus 2. He rolled a 1, so I held. He brings down this infantry and does it again. This time he rolls a 6, and I roll a 4. 6 plus 1 is a 7, so I was guaranteed to be retreated and killed. I took the hex, and then armored unit goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and attacks the Hungarian. he was +1 for armor, +1 for elite, -1. So he's and then he goes after the infantry. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He throws an airplane in here too. Yeah. So 7 -1. So it should be like +6 to my +2. So he rolled a 1, +6 is a 7. I rolled a 1, +2 is a 3, so I'm retreated instead of flipped. And then he comes across the river and attacks the 17th. Throws in an airplane as well, so he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1 should be +4. To +2, he rolls a 7. I rolled a 5, which is just enough to hold. And this armored unit comes down here. There's the shock army up. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he can attack as well. So he's got all sorts of things going on here. And he also throws in an airplane, so he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -2. +4 to +2, he rolls a 4 + 4 is an 8. I rolled a 5 + 2 is a 7, so I held for a turn. And he moves this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he attacks across the river. He's 1 -2, so he rolls a 3 -1 is a 2, and I roll effectively a 1. So Hungarian garrison held on for a little bit. Then he comes in with another guards unit, attacks again, rolls a 1. I rolled a high number. There's this guy. Oh, that's us just taking off assault markers. Moves up this guards unit. Did he attack here? I don't think he did. Yeah, he did. He was at -1 to plus. And he added 1, so he was a 0. Why am I 0? Where he was attacking. Attacking at Danzig? I'm not sure what that was. And he's just moving guys up to the front. So he's in position for next turn, and then he's done. We get to Axis replacements. At this point I had, where am I? I had 8 left and 1 guy to build, and I think I had 1 guy to flip. I had an infantry over here somewhere. Yeah, the 14th infantry to flip. So flipped him, and then brought down 2 airplanes. Brought that one down. Not sure what else I brought down. We're doing British. I don't know what I did here. I'm a little confused on exactly what I did there. But I did take down 2 airplanes, but I don't know. Oh, the one in Vienna. That's it. And then the West is just, unsorting everything everywhere. Having a grand old time. Can't really stop him in any of those places. And the Soviets, oops, bring down their airplanes. And then we go to upgrades. I don't think anybody had an upgrade this turn. I built my garrison unit, put him in Stettin, or No, I put him in Kiel, I guess. And Soviet mobilization, he built his convoy up there in the north. So he can now start to threaten invasions. That's why I had to put somebody in Kiel, because it's worth on a surprise attack marker to land in Kiel, march into Hamburg here, and then the Germans have to do something about it. Otherwise, there's a Russian running around down in here. And yes, so no diplomacy, end of turn phase. Basically, it's a bunch of stuff for him. I got my heavy artillery right back and another garrison unit that I can build. The Hungarian came in, and then his stack. Many units for him, including his upgrade. All sorts of stuff over here. Partisans and ultras and free forces and paratroopers. Heavy artilleries. And that's U.S. variable entry and a lend-lease. So he moves that out to July and went up another factory, so he's up to 5 as well. And then I think, I went to weather, and then at the beginning of the next turn we'll actually roll the Americans. We forgot to do them. So the weather is 251. So on the weather track, 251 it's going to be fair in the mild zone, or in the warm zone, and the other 2 is going to be poor and severe. Severe in the mild zone and poor in the cold zone. So that's where we left off. We stopped it here just so we could end the year of 1943. So that was November and December of 1943. The Americans have come across. D-Day happened in November of 1943. And he landed at Le Havre and Calais and has the hex in between, so he's got sort of a little bridgehead here with all sorts of units floating around. So, yeah, too many things going on against the Germans right now. As always, I'm Gen608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button to help the algorithms in YouTube to keep these things up for other people to find. And we will be back with January of 1944 next time. Until then, stay safe and bye-bye.